All right, now I wanted to start with this, but it's a little bit, it's a tragic story. It's enraging, and people need to know what's going on. I'm going to have on, at some point next week, Gord McGill, who is a freedom fighter out of Canada, trucker. He's been sounding the alarm on what we are now seeing the consequences of by way of policy. For those of you who don't know, there was a horrendous accident on, I don't know what highway it was in Florida, but a pickup truck, for whatever the reason, decides to do a maneuver on the highway, pulling a U-turn across the highway at a service section turnaround. So you appreciate the truck driver is pulling a U-turn across 3-4 lanes of highway from the right across to the left to do a U-turn because the idiot didn't want to do an extra 5 or 10 minute detour to do it safely on whatever off-ramp would have been appropriate. I'm going to turn the volume down. Appreciate what you're witnessing right here. We're going to get into the politics of it in a second because unfortunately there are politics involved. The man is on the far side of the highway and you're going to see him pull across 4 lanes to do a U-turn right now across the highway, and this car from behind him careens into his pickup. All 3 passengers died, or all 3 persons in the vehicle died. There was a driver and 2 passengers. And you need to highlight the reaction or lack thereof of the driver. You got the passenger in his truck who looks like he's aware that they're doing something homicidally stupid because the guy has now been charged. Appreciate this. Bam. The lack of any sense of urgency is enough to make you attribute malicious homicidal intent. This is the accident. The man's there. Now, I always say, like, you know, in a time of crisis, urgent stress, you don't know how you're going to react. I think people are not going to react like that. So this guy here, this is a orange 4U28. The video's all across the internet now. 3 died in a crash in Florida after a semi-truck made an illegal U-turn colliding with the minivan. The minivan collided with the truck because it's pulling across 3 lanes of highway to do an illegal U-turn at a service, whatever they have for the emergency vehicles or police vehicles. A woman, 37, from Pompano Beach. A man, 54, died in the collision. The minivan's driver, a man, 30, from Florida, airlifted to the hospital where he later died. You want to know where the politics comes into this? It turns out that the driver is an illegal alien who crossed the border illegally, ended up in California, and somehow got his commercial driver's license. Don't take my word for it. And again, I had to double check this because you can't trust screen grabs on the internet, people. This is from the Florida something Highway Safety Motor Vehicle. What does the L stand for? I forget what the L stands for. And this is their press release of yesterday. Statewide release: illegal U-turn truck driver arrested for vehicular homicide. Damn right. As if there's ever going to be any justice in this insanity. St. Lucie County, August 12, 2025. State troopers responded to a crash on Florida's Turnpike occurring in St. Lucie County. The crash involved a minivan and a commercial semi-truck and trailer. Based upon our initial but ongoing criminal investigation, it is evident that the driver of the commercial semi-truck recklessly and without regard for the safety of others attempted to execute a U-turn, utilizing an unauthorized location. As a result of his actions, the 3 occupants of the minivan are now deceased. Listen to this. State troopers obtained criminal arrest warrant for the driver, Harjinder Singh, for 3 counts of vehicular homicide during the course of this criminal investigation with the assistance of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. State troopers determined that Harjinder Singh entered the states illegally, having crossed the Mexico border in 2018. Why is an Indian crossing the border into America illegally from Mexico? Has anybody ever thought about asking that question? I know some people have. The defendant obtained a commercial driver's license in the state of California under the federal authority delegated by ICE to Florida Highway Patrol state troopers through the Section 287 program. State troopers issued an ICE detainer. The actions taken by the defendant while operating a commercial tractor trailer are both shocking and criminal, said Executive Director Dave Kramer. 3 people lost their lives as a result of his recklessness, and countless friends and family members will experience the pain of their loss forever. Harjinder Singh is in custody on state vehicular homicide charges and immigration violations. He will no longer be able to damage and destroy the lives of Floridians and visitors. It's a little too late, but this is the tragedy that evil and stupidity can cause. At the conclusion of his state charges, he will be deported. The Florida Highway State Patrol remains committed to enforcing both state and federal law to ensure that people that are a danger to others face justice behind bars. And I just put out a tweet. The driver involved, illegal immigrant, got his commercial license in the state of California. How does an illegal immigrant get a commercial driver license in the state of California? Care to comment, Gavin Newsom? Gavin Newsom, who's entered the realm of trolling Trump on Twitter. Gavin Newsom's putting out his all caps tweets with "thank you for your attention to this matter," like he's scoring cheap political points by trolling Trump on Twitter, by claiming to have ratioed Trump on Twitter. The idiot doesn't even understand what a ratio is. How does an illegal alien get a commercial driver's license? People think like truck driving is just like brain dead zombie activity. It's a skill that you have to train for, that you have to be licensed for. A truck like that doesn't operate like an ordinary vehicle. A truck like that requires training. It requires a degree of professionalism, despite what city folk think of truck drivers. How the hell is this happening in California, in Texas, in Michigan, in Massachusetts, in Iowa? I've been, talking with Gord McGill. He's going to come on and explain it. He talked about this when he was on my channel a while back, saying this is a serious problem that actually runs across the country. That you got the government bringing in illegals or bringing in immigrants, handing out commercial driving license like it's cotton candy. It's a skill that they do not have, that you do not have unless you've been trained for it. They get into these horrible, horrible accidents. And then the government is going to use it as a pretext to, on the one hand, either further regulate the trucking industry or argue for the automation of the trucking industry. One way or another, for the idiots out there who think you can bring in illegal immigrants and exploit them for cheap labor to work the fields, to work the factories. That's exactly what the Uni Party, I don't even want to blame Democrats alone for this. That's what the Uni Party is doing. It's good for big corporation. To bring in unskilled labor to be exploited for lower wages is good for the bottom line of big corporations. You give unskilled labor, I don't want to use the word professional, but skilled licenses, and this is what happens. And you go back now and you look at a lot of these highway accidents, these tragic, horrendous highway accidents involving big rigs that are killing dozens and dozens of people. You're going to find not a common thread. You are going to find statistical anomalies that can only be explained in nefarious manners. You're going to find statistical overrepresentation of who is involved in these wrecks, and you can't ignore it after a given point. So that's what's going on in Florida. 3 Floridians are dead because of the criminal negligence, not just of the truck driver, whoever the hell gave him his commercial license, and Gavin Newsom. So while Gavin Newsom tweets out stupidities, taking pride in, he thinks, ratioing Trump, he's got blood on his hands right now. I mean, this is what Gavin Newsom, I had to double check to see if this is in fact not a parody account or an unauthorized offshoot. Official account for the press office of Governor Newsom. What does he tweet out? He's so amazingly hilarious. Oh, we totally humiliated the White House by ratioing them 3 times yesterday. A great day for America. Thank you, patriots. Gavin, you stupid jackass. 3 Americans are dead because your criminal state handed out a commercial driver's license to an illegal alien who then went on to kill 3 Floridians. Oh, but congratulations on the ratio. You don't even know what a ratio is. Not to sound totally petty. You don't get a ratio when you quote tweet a tweet. In fact, all that is showing that he's either got more bot accounts to engage with his tweets, or he's got more idiot followers who are more impressed with, entertained by a ratio, which is not a ratio, because you do not get a ratio when you get more hearts on your quote tweet than they got on the original tweet. Your ratio then when you respond in their tweet and then get more or a proportionate amount of likes and retweets. But that's what Gavin Newsom is focusing on. Hearts, retweets, and humiliating the president while his criminal state leads to the death of 3 Floridians.